Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we sift through all the corporate jargon so you don't have to. Today, we're diving into the latest 10K report from EXAGEN, and let me tell you, this one has more twists and turns than a soap opera. We're talking about a company that's trying to diagnose autoimmune diseases, and their financial journey is just as complex as the illnesses they're trying to understand. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. EXAGEN Inc., if you haven't heard of them, is all about medical technology, specifically focused on creating and selling testing products to help diagnose, predict, and monitor autoimmune diseases. Think lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. It's a big market with millions of people potentially affected, but making money in this space isn't always a walk in the park. First things first, this is their annual report, basically a yearly checkup on how they're doing as a company. It covers everything from their business strategy to the risks they face. In 2024, EXAGEN hit a milestone. Their 1 millionth AVISE-CTD test was completed. This is their flagship testing product, by the way, used to help diagnose connective tissue diseases. Now, get this, in 2025, they're launching new tests for lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. This is important because it could mean more accurate diagnoses and faster treatment for patients. They are trying to give doctors the tools to get the right answer faster. The market they are in is huge, with an estimate of 40 million in the United States with suspected autoimmune diseases. These diseases, where the immune system attacks the body, are tricky to diagnose because their symptoms overlap with other conditions. This creates a demand for EXAGEN's tests, which aim to provide more clarity. To grow, EXAGEN is betting on expanding the adoption of their flagship product, AVISE-CTD. They're using a specialized sales force to reach rheumatologists across the United States and keep improving their test offerings. They are also trying to develop new and innovative testing products by making careful research and development investments. They're looking for technologies that give them a competitive edge. The key here is, like any business, they want to deliver sustainable and profitable growth. The goal is to improve gross margins and operate more efficiently. They have a secret weapon in their tech too, called cell-bound complement activation products CB-caps for diagnosing SLE, with patent protection extending until 2034. This gives them a unique advantage over competitors. Their flagship product, AVISE-CTD, is a comprehensive test for diagnosing connective tissue diseases. It even includes their proprietary AVISE lupus platform, which is all about assessing lupus risk. Just recently, at a rheumatology meeting, they shared data on new biomarkers that can identify lupus even when other tests come back negative. This is big news, potentially catching more cases of the disease. For rheumatoid arthritis, they've added unique biomarkers that help identify patients who are seronegative, meaning they don't show the usual markers for the disease. This can help get those patients diagnosed and treated faster. They have 40 sales territories divided into 5 regions, with plans to add more this year. They also have an inside sales team to reach doctors in rural areas. They are also working with patient advocacy organizations and medical societies, and have relationships with rheumatology care management organizations. To get their tests covered by insurance, they're focused on getting included in clinical guidelines and individual payer medical policies. They want to show that their tests are accurate, useful, and cost-effective. The company has conducted a bunch of studies to prove the validity and utility of their tests. For example, they did a study showing that their EC4D and BC4D biomarkers were more effective than standard tests in diagnosing SLE. Another study, this time on healthcare economics, estimated that using AVISE lupus could save about $2 million per 1,000 patients. This is because earlier diagnosis can lead to fewer hospitalizations. They perform all their tests in their own lab in California. They say their lab is properly certified and accredited and can report test results within 5 business days. They are implementing quality systems and controls to help make sure the test results are accurate and reliable, which is of course vital. EXAGEN faces tough competition from big players like LabCorp and Quest Diagnostics, as well as other companies developing new diagnostic tools. To survive, they need to show that their tests are better, easier to use, and more cost-effective. As of the end of 2024, they have 209 employees, with about half in lab operations and research and development, and the rest in sales, marketing, and admin. They are also relying on some proprietary tech and processes, including trade secrets. But as they say, these can be difficult to protect. In the past, they worked with the University of Pittsburgh, but the agreement ended in March 2024. Now, they license technology from Allegheny Health Network Research Institute and Johns Hopkins University. They are also operating in an industry that's heavily regulated, from CLIA and FDA requirements to privacy laws like HIPAA. Staying compliant is expensive and time-consuming. The FDA, if you didn't know, is trying to increase oversight over laboratory-developed tests, which could mean they will need to get approval for their tests before selling them. If they mess up any of these rules, they could face some serious consequences, such as fines, imprisonment, and being excluded from government healthcare programs. Now let's talk numbers. The company's yearly revenue was about $55.6 million, but they also had a net loss of $15.1 million. They have been losing money for years, racking up an accumulated deficit of $294.3 million. Most of their money comes from reimbursement from third-party payers, such as Medicare and commercial insurers. For a test to gain acceptance, third-party payers need to believe the products are medically necessary and lead to improved patient outcomes. Also, like any company, their operating results can fluctuate, so the time in which they think they might reach profitability may ultimately be wrong. Their financial results are dependent on the sales of their testing products, and they will need to generate enough revenue from these to grow the business. Another point is that they rely on sole suppliers for some of their reagents and equipment. If those suppliers can't deliver, their business could suffer. As of the end of 2024, they owed $15 million in principal on a term loan. If they fail to comply with the covenants in the loan agreement, the lenders could come after their assets. They rely on various agreements with third parties. If they fail to comply with their obligations, their patents may be in jeopardy. Lastly, all the officers, directors, and other employees with access to sensitive company information are prohibited from engaging in hedging transactions with respect to their shares, basically saying they can't bet against the stock. Overall, EXAGEN is a company with some interesting technology and a space with real potential, but they are far from risk-free. The key to their success will be proving that their tests are valuable enough to get broad insurance coverage and getting more doctors to use them. They are working to reduce costs and gain more revenue. The new biomarker tests may have a real effect on profitability. It's good to see them focused on profitability and cutting expenses. They need to do better to turn this ship around. They face significant competition and they will need to stay ahead of the curve. Also, they must be very careful to comply with all applicable regulations to avoid fines or penalties. This is a very regulated space. There are a lot of issues that might become problematic if they don't handle them appropriately. Ultimately, EXAGEN is a company in transition. They have made some progress, but it's still too early to say if they will truly achieve sustained growth and profitability. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, like, and comment.